All right, it's time for another 3-minute takeaway. How much is still left? Quite a bit in here. All right, here we go. Choosing influence over authority. Choosing influence over authority. Okay, there's a number of different ways I could take this one. Let's go ahead and set our timer up. 3 minutes, and here we go. Choose influence. You know, we have a definition here in our company, an uncommon influence, for leadership. And this is one of the things that I see often. When I travel the country, I see a team that is focused on leading an organization, but they don't all agree on a common definition of leadership. And that's a mistake, because if there's not a common definition of leadership, then people could start actually pulling in different directions based on what they think personally that leading other people means. So one easy place to start, and I always tell people the first leadership book I would recommend reading, if you've never read any, is Developing the Leader Within You by John Maxwell. It's even got the updated version, which is Developing the Leader Within You 2.0. Great book, a masterclass on how to be a leader. And one of the things John Maxwell says is leadership is influence. Nothing more, nothing less. Well, we've kind of expanded on that a bit in our team's definition of leadership. This is what we teach our coaches as a definition of leadership. It's our internal team's agreement on what leadership is. But leadership, when we talk about leading other people, the term for us is about influencing other people for a desired outcome. And not just influencing, but intentionally influencing them. Because I think we could influence other people without being intentional. We could just show up, go through our day-to-day, being in autopilot mode. You ever like that? In autopilot mode? And we can influence people, but it might not lead us to the desired outcome. Because we're just going through the motions. But if we're intentionally influencing people, if we say, okay, this is where we're going as a team, and I'm going to be intentional about how I show up and what I teach and what I coach and how I encourage, okay, that's going to take us to the desired outcome. So intentional influence through other people for a desired outcome is how we would say it. That doesn't need to be your definition of leadership. But I would ask, do you, in your company, in your position, have a definition of leadership that you've agreed upon with the other leaders around you? Because it comes back to this word influence, and you look at influence over authority. Because if you're just leaning on the authority, if you're just leaning on the title that you've been given, do this because I said so, that might work short term. But nobody wants to follow a leader like that long term. So we got to step in with intentional influence. And what that's going to do is it's going to motivate and inspire those that are following us. And then as those people become leaders, they're going to know exactly what leadership is. Just some thoughts that I had on choosing influence over authority. I'll see you tomorrow.